What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot Time coming at you on Saturday morning. Hope everybody's doing good today. I'm doing all right. I'm on the way out to work this morning. Foot's hurting. I got to work for a while today. We do have a live stream today at 4 o'clock, so I'll be ready for that. Gamecocks versus Wofford. South Carolina should get an easy win today. I want to see them do the right stuff today, honor their seniors. The kids who have been there with the program, give them a chance to play some today. Put the game away early so you're in a position to do that. And then bench your starters, rest them up. Lenora Sellers probably needs to do 2 series. Rocket Sanders probably needs to do maybe 2 series and be done. We need to have a heavy dose of Oscar Attaway today at the running back position, Jawarn Howell, and then whoever else behind him. And then a heavy dose of Robbie Ashford, Davis Bevel, quarterback. Lenoris doesn't need to be out there. They all need to be ready, rested for that game next Saturday afternoon in Death Valley against the Hillbillies from the upstate. That's going to be, we can't have any injuries. They're already whining, crying about injuries, complaining, whining about all their offensive linemen being beat up, yada, yada. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Last year, we had tons of injuries. Whenever we dared to open our mouth about them, all you did was say, suck it up. Well, guess what? Suck it up. Whatever happened to Too Deep? Whatever happened to that moniker? Remember Too Deep? Oh, yeah. I remember now. That kind of went away whenever the transfer portal started up. Isn't it funny the way that when the transfer portal started, when NIL started being a thing, Clemson started sucking? It's amazing that when it was illegal to cheat, they did it like crazy. And they considered and said, well, nothing was ever proven. You don't know any fact that they were funneling money through that church for years. Now everybody can do it, so they don't have an advantage over anybody. So now they don't want to cheat. It's crazy. But aside from that, other things that are going on right now. So I was going to do this actually as a live stream as I head down the road, because it's a long drive from where I live down to where my stops are. I've got to go to Publix today and work it. I've got to do a couple of little convenience stores that I missed last week. See, the thing is, when we're on sale in the grocery stores with our product, like some of the smaller stops, like the little convenience stores and maybe Dollar General or something, they kind of get pushed back a few days sometimes because you get busy and you spend more time in the grocery stores than you intend to, and it's either you stay out and work real late or just push it to another day. Now, I push it to another day. If my route were closer to home and where I'm at, I mean, if it were, within 30 minutes of where I live at, sure, I would probably just stay on out and push and get it done. I'm not going to do that. Not having to drive this far. I have to go back all the time, load up product at our warehouse. It's a mess. It really, it's a lot. I like it, but it's a lot. And I've got a little storage unit right now. But right now, the problem with my storage unit, there's some mice that got in there. So I took pretty much all the product out of the storage unit for right now. That I'm still paying for, of course. And it's not like one of these chain facilities. You see, there's a storage facility on every corner. It seems like Public Storage is one. I forget all the other names of these different storage unit chains, but they're everywhere. Well, I don't have one of those. Mine's an Old Country storage unit facility out pretty much in the middle of nowhere, East Jabib. It's like like 20 units out there, and like one old guy runs it, and I mean, he's like, he doesn't live where to buy those units. I mean, they're like several miles from his house. Like, I had to go to his house, and I Venmo him money to pay for the unit every month, and it's only $50. But mice have got in there, and so now I'm in the process of trying to kill a bunch of mice with glue boards, and got bait stations down to try to get rid of them, and mothballs on the outside of the thing, and I've found about 4 dead ones so far that I've gotten rid of. But they had started chewing holes in the bags of my chips, and I couldn't have that. So I had to get rid of all the damaged bags, and then I just got most of the product out of there, and I've just left a little bit of stuff in there, kind of as bait, I guess, as you wish to say, so I can kind of judge if it's getting more holes put in it. I know I've still got a problem. If I can leave it down there for a while and the holes go away, then maybe I can slowly start introducing some product back in. But then, once again, I was told to elevate it off the floor, so I'm going to lay some little half pallets in there too to try to do that. But I had this unit for about 2 months, and I never had any problems. And then when we got our first cold snap a couple weeks ago, and it started raining a little bit, then here they come. I guess I wasn't going fast enough for you. I'm sorry. I don't know why that is. It shouldn't piss you off if somebody passes you on the road. I don't know. It gets under my skin sometimes. But I'm going about 50. I can't go 70 miles an hour down a 2-lane. I just can't do it. Not in this. Nope. Anyway, there's some decent games on today, and I wanted to say real quick that, my thoughts and prayers go out to the family of BVD, Big Vol Daddy, Keith Ricker. He's one of the Tennessee Vol YouTubers. He's probably one of the first college football YouTubers I ever actually saw on this platform. Lou being one, him being one. There were several others that were there when I first got in. When I first started doing college football stuff on YouTube around 2017. Before that, I was doing like scratch offs and stuff on here, and then I kind of ventured over into trying to do both of them, and then I just started doing college football stuff pretty much exclusively. But the BBD was one who's been, he had a channel for a long time, and BBD had a video that had over 1 million views on it. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but he did. Cow tipping. And it was way back. Like from like 2011 or something. But BBD passed away last night, and it all week long there was kind of like rumors that he'd passed away, but apparently he was just sick, and he's been sick a lot. This guy, if you don't know, BBD had diabetes, I believe, and he lost a leg. Had been in the hospital a lot. It's probably the past 3 or 4 years, it seems like. I remember, I know all the time he was posting things that he was in the hospital again and everything, and he would get out, and he had several surgeries, I know. So he was really in bad shape, and I'm sure in a lot of pain. Life is funny. Sometimes people pass away, it's boom, just like that, and sometimes you see something like this. Someone just, they get sick, they're in pain, they almost pass away, and they fight, and they don't pass away, and they start to get better. And I mean, it just kind of seems unfair. But my prayers go to his family. But I did see, I think it was Ballard posted a video last night, or did a live stream at some point early this morning, maybe, that talking about him and that he passed. And I went and checked and looked on Facebook, and that's where I find. So his daughter had put up a long post confirming that he passed away at 10:20 on Friday night. Really sucks. That's bad. And he was, I mean, it's not like I talked to him all the time. I mean, I probably spoke with him on the phone, maybe 5 times, but I had met him down there at the Slob Olympics and stuff, and hung out with him, and he was a really nice guy. I remember he had me on his show a couple of times, on StreamYard or whatever. I joined him on his show, and I talked Gamecock football one time, and we shot the shit before. And remember one show he did probably about a year ago. He got me on there. He had me and Sports Talk Jay and somebody else on there, and then he tried to get me to make up with Boogie Bentley, the Tennessee Booger Pot, and I was just like, whatever. I just let the guy spill his nonsense out, and I was like, whatever, yeah, cool, we're cool. But I wasn't going to get into it with this ding-a-ling on his channel. I had enough respect for BBD. I wasn't going to shove my ass over there on his channel. And sometimes, he caught me off guard with that one. BBD did. Set me up to talk to that jackass. But and if you don't know anything about that situation, that's the one. That's the big Tennessee Vols YouTuber. He's got a Tennessee Vols show. He has a call-in show. It's pretty much like it's a big setup. It's not like Uncle Lou's setup because he has a lot of other people who help him with it. Uncle Lou does pretty much all this on his own. But his is, it's growing. It's a pretty big platform, but the thing is, it's kind of in an echo chamber. It's Tennessee. That's all they want to hear. They don't want to engage in trash talk, or they don't want to really get any views from fans of other teams, and especially if it's an opinion or a view about something negative about the Tennessee Vols, and it comes from another fan base or a member of another fan base, they don't want to hear it, and most likely will block you off their channel and their forum, because I've been blocked over there. So, yeah, that's why I don't like those people. You're putting out product in a environment where the majority of the people who consume it are male. The majority of the males that consume it are, I would say, probably under the age of 50. That's I would think that too. Now, I might be wrong. That is who your YouTube audience is. And, the younger they get, the mouthier people are going to be, the more attitude they're going to have. But, you can filter through that and find some good people, and there are good people in all fan bases. Okay? So that's why I think it's kind of silly just to alienate people like that. Now, you can say, well, you block people too, Caroline. Well, mine's different, and it is. When I'm doing a live stream, if people are talking trash, if they're seriously just getting on there trolling, talking trash is one thing. If you're sitting on there trolling, yeah, I'm going to get rid of you, because, I don't need that. It's just clogging up the chat. I'm trying to focus on things that things that make sense and are relevant in a chat. Also, I block people who let me know ahead of time what's going to happen in the game, because I stream, and pretty much everybody nowadays, everybody's streaming it from somewhere. I don't know of anybody who's got cable anymore, but I'm sure there are out there, and there are different speeds. I mean, I would think that some of these people who are streaming are probably getting it almost live to the broadcast and almost simultaneous. And some of us are, 10 seconds behind, 15 seconds behind, whatever. The only place that you can really get it, the only place you can really get the content of the games and see it in real time is if you are there. The second most in sync with the game is on the radio. So that's why I get rid of people who let me know when key plays are going to happen. They'll let me know, you're going to wait when you see this next sack. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to get sacked. Boom, you're done. I don't deal with that shit. Now, a game like today's, I wouldn't get so upset on it, but I've got way off topic of what I was talking about. But prayers for BBD's family, his daughter. That's really. She said she was 24 years old, so she's a year older than my son. And I just read that, and I was like, man, just really amazing. A 24-year-old with the maturity to put, those thoughts together. This soon after, her father's passing that's remarkable. It's sad, but at the same time, it's a beautiful thing. And we will miss you around here. You were a really funny guy, a really nice guy. You were really. Obviously, I'm not a Tennessee fan by any stretch of the imagination. But I understand your passion for your team and the passion that you had, and it's a shame everybody's not like that. So, rest in peace, buddy. And I know you're in a better place now, pain-free, hopefully. That's how it needs to be. Now, excuse me. I need to talk about some of the games today. Got a lot of schools who are taking on lower level competition today. Gamecocks. Clemson's taking on a lower level competition in the Citadel. That's good. Maybe they can rest their starters and get rid of some of these injuries that they got that they're crying about. Maybe so. Time's coming, boys. It's time to pay the piper. 7 days. Tick tock. It's coming. I hadn't been this confident about one of these games since 2013. Since 2013, this is the most confident that I've been going into a Carolina-Clemson game. That we're going to make them tote a giant ass whooping. I can feel it coming. I can feel the balance in the state shifting. Can you not? If you're a Gamecock fan or a Clemson fan, if you're a fan of another fan base, you probably from the outside looking in can probably look at both programs and weigh in on what you see. But the tide is turning in the state. South Carolina's gaining momentum. I was listening to the Mazodcast, that Missouri podcast. I listened to the episode about South Carolina. By the way, that's a really good podcast. I'm actually going to link that episode down in the description of this video. And after I upload this video, if I forget to do it, someone put in the comment section, hey, you forgot to put the link to the episode of the Mazodcast. I'm going to put that down in the description box below. That was a really good episode where they recapped the South Carolina game. They had all of my voicemails on there, and I love their podcast. It's funny and informative, and they do a really good job. They're both really knowledgeable about college football. Excuse me, but there's a difference sometimes between being knowledgeable and being a homer. And they did a little bit of crying on there too, a little bit of crying and whining, a little bit of kind of not giving. Never gave Rocket Sanders his due on that touchdown run. They just attributed it to poor tackling. It was poor tackling by them. Our defenses fell apart. Poor tackling. We were the better team out there today. It was no, you weren't. No, you weren't. You were behind 21-6. You weren't the better team. If anything, South Carolina was the better team. South Carolina is the ones that should be kicking themselves in the ass for letting you get back into it. Now, I gave Missouri credit for getting back into that game because they're a good team, and they are. And that's why they were able to come back on South Carolina. It wasn't South Carolina just laying down and quitting. It was that team fighting hard, clawing, getting back into the game, establishing a rhythm, finding something that worked, finding an angle to take with their offense versus our defense that was going to work, which was that stretch play that they ran like 100 times. I gave them credit. Now, you got to give us credit, too. Turnabout's fair play with that deal. But Clemson plays the Citadel. Georgia plays UMass. Almost best sure bet out there is that Georgia will not cover against UMass. Go back and look at Kirby's history against anything that's not an FBS team, or excuse me, I said that wrong. Power 5. Can I talk today? Group of 5 teams or FCS teams. Go back and look at his record against the spread against them. It's not very good. It's not very good. They don't cover spreads in those games. They play a lot of players in them. They experiment with things. That's what you're supposed to use those games for. Who cares if you cover the spread? If you cover it, you cover it. Georgia could go out and beat UMass today 100-0. But they're not going to. They're going to experiment with it a little bit. So they got that one. Florida and Ole Miss. I think that Florida probably shot their shot last week against LSU. I think LSU is not a very good team, overrated, and I think that we're now seeing them just totally starting to fall apart. We're starting to see the collapse. Brian Kelly's over here yelling at players on the sideline. He's chastising them in public view, having a hissy fit during press conference. I mean, going out and losing, 27-16 against Florida. When you still have a legitimate chance to make it to the SEC championship game and you lose to Florida, that's terrible. So I think LSU's not very good. I think Ole Miss is a good team. They were up double digits on LSU, and there was another chance of Ole Miss just had a second half collapse. They can't have those kind of collapses and really expect to make it any further than where they're at right now. I still think they are way more talented than Florida, and defensively they're pretty good too. Florida has a decent defense. They're not bad in that regard, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop Ole Miss and Jackson Dart today. I think they'll cover. I think the spread's like around 10. I think Ole Miss wins that by a couple of touchdowns. I mean, I could be wrong. But, just not sold on Florida at all. I don't really care who's playing quarterback for them. Who else? Vandy on the road at LSU. I'm taking Vanderbilt. I mean, I think they're like a 7.5 point underdog. I'm taking them to cover. They would not be shocked at all. In fact, I've got to put some bets in before noon over on the app that I use. In fact, that's one of the money line drops I might do. Vanderbilt. I mean, why not? I mean, they've won as an underdog in like 4 games this year. I mean, LSU's falling apart. I know it's at Baton Rouge, it's at night, but I mean that doesn't mask everything. That doesn't mask shittiness and ineptitude, I don't think. If you're crappy and inept, it really doesn't matter what time you're playing it, where you're playing it at. Vanderbilt's just, I mean, this Diego Pavia, he's got 2 games left. So he had some kind of it was kind of a lawsuit type thing to try to get some more eligibility because he spent time at junior college and can't earn NIL in junior college. So he wanted more eligibility. I don't know what lawyers were involved with it. And anyway, I think they ruled against him. So these will be his last 2 games. So this is like his little mini audition, I guess, for the NFL of sorts. I think he should make an NFL roster doing something. I mean, is he going to play quarterback in the NFL? Yeah, probably not. But he could make some kind of an impact, I think, on an NFL team. So this game and the game against Tennessee next week, I think he's going to go out on his sword, as Rob Sanders said. So give me Vanderbilt in that one. Colorado at Kansas. Kansas quarterback Jalen Daniels is finally healthy again, and they've won a couple of games in a row after a really disappointing season. Jalen Daniels had gotten hurt again, and I say again, so every year he's been there, he's played fantastic for a couple of 3 games. Then he'll get hurt for a while. You won't see him for a month. And they had that kid Jason Bean who was playing backup quarterback whenever he was out. Jason Bean did a decent job, and he could still win you football games. Well, he's not there this year. He's already, I guess he ran out of eligibility, graduated, moved on, whatever. Whoever the backup quarterback now is not a Jason Bean because they were not winning football games. So they kind of took a step back. Now Daniels is back and he's healthy. I believe they beat Colorado. This is it's not a home game. It's a de facto home game for Kansas. They play at Arrowhead Stadium where the Chiefs play. They're renovating Kansas Stadium, I think, this year and next. If I'm not, I don't think they play at home again next year. They basically are tearing down the whole stadium and rebuilding it. It's just like half of one grandstand or something is the only thing that they kept. The rest of it, they're totally rebuilding it. I did a video and showed that. I think it was the video I did back in the summer, my dark horse contenders for the conference championships for each of the Power 4 conferences. And I showed a rendering of what the stadium's going to look like when it's done. And it, as the kids would say, looks dope. Yeah. And they were my dark horse pick. And it would have been a good dark horse pick had that guy not gotten injured. They could have won a few more football games, but they didn't. But I think they beat Colorado. I'm not a believer in Colorado. I'm not sold on them. I'm still not sold on that offensive line, those lines of scrimmage, the defense. I'm just not. I mean, look at who have they beaten? Who have they beaten that's worth a damn? Nobody. They hadn't beaten anybody worth a damn. And they're ranked like number 16. Shit. Give me a damn break. Give me a break. I mean, props to them for finally focusing on fucking football and what they're there to do. Props to Deion Sanders for coaching the team and doing what he's supposed to do and kind of staying out of the limelight this year, not running his mouth, not being an asshole. But still, I'm still just not sold on the team. It doesn't have anything really to do with the fact that I didn't really care for their actions last year and basically turning a college football program into a reality show where every detail of every minute of every day was broadcast on YouTube or some other platform for the whole world to see. they're finally just focusing this year on playing football, and it's working. Still just not sold on it. So I think Kansas wins that game. I might be wrong. If I am, so be it. Ohio State and Indiana. That's a tough one. I don't even know what the spread's down to right now. A lot of people are on Indiana. I don't know. How can you pick against Indiana, though? They have absolutely been hammering teams this year. I know their schedule has not been the best. In fact, it's one of the worst. Whether like number 105 in strength of schedule, they've blistered some of the teams they played. The most impressed, probably that 52-7 win over Nebraska. Now, I know Nebraska's offense is not good, but you can't say that's not impressive still. Michigan State, not a real good team. They beat them 47-10 at their place. They beat Washington by double digits. They beat, just up and down the line. So we'll find out today. We're going to find out. I expect Ohio State to win the game at home, and I kind of go with Ohio State to cover here, just because I know what I'm getting from Ohio State. I don't know what I'm going to get from Indiana in this situation. Unfortunately, it just seems like the more safe bet to me. And then if you're wrong, it's one of those things that we can be like, hey, I was wrong, because there are a lot of these games where you're glad you're wrong, you know. And nobody, let's face facts. Outside of their own fan base, people dislike Ohio State. They just do. It's just an aura, and the aura they give off. The fan base is kind of, just not the best. Not the best. I would love to see Indiana win that and make them eat some humble pie, but the safer bet, I think, would be to go with Ohio State. What else? What other games do I like? I think UCLA is going to knock off USC. That game is at UCLA. They're a small underdog. I think 4.5 points. UCLA have been playing better lately. I think they're going to knock them off. Trying to think of some other games that are out there. Texas A&M and Auburn's at Auburn. It's a night game. That's a weird one. That's one I wouldn't bet. I'd stay away from it. Auburn is a 2.5 point underdog. Just doesn't seem like enough points. So there's a reason for that. So if Auburn beats them, that's really going to piss me off. That's really going to piss me off. It pissed me off last week that LSU went out there and laid a giant steaming shit on the 50-yard line against Florida and left it for the world to smell, because that was one of South Carolina's losses. This was one of our good wins. Well, this is our signature win. So I need them to keep winning. They can't go out there and lose to Auburn. Auburn's not good. Auburn is not a good team. They've got talent, but the coaching aspect there. Hugh Freeze, is he on the hot seat? Yeah, he should be. They should be. They can't get it right. They can't make the right hire. But people do preach also, you've got to be patient. Let these guys rebuild these programs the way they want to rebuild them, get their players in there and that type of stuff. And we're starting to see that at South Carolina with Shane Beamer. People told me, Jackpot, be patient. Be patient with it. Be patient. I'm tired of being patient. We're in year 3, yada yada or whatever last year, and I was, I was all damn fucking pissed and all that. But we're in year 4 now, and nobody. That was the thing. See, and there it is, and I just realized it again, and once again, that it's that same old adage, and it's proven true again with South Carolina football. When good things are expected of them, they don't always perform. I'm not talking about a game or what. Well, a lot of times I get one game in particular, or one set of games in particular, or whatever. But in this terms, I talk about a whole season. When really good things are expected from them, as was last year, I think some really high expectations were levied on them last year after the end of 2022. They disappoint. But when nobody really expects anything, they'll go out there and surprise you. That's exactly what they've done again this year. And their over-under win total was set at 5.5. I mean, they've already flown past that. And you're looking at a 9-win regular season if you can win that last game of the year. And I'm not, somebody said you better watch out for Wofford. I used to would take those things for granted. I'm taking it for granted that they're going to beat Wofford. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, let's just be real. What if they went out there and lost to them? God almighty. Could you imagine what a damn popcorn fart on this season that would be? Woo! Man, that would be a stinker. That's not going to happen. Mizzou and Mizzou and Mississippi State. Mizzou's a 7.5-point favorite on the road at Mississippi State. I bet Mizzou in this game. I actually laid money on this one too. Mizzou's going to beat the hell out of them. A lot of people are like, well, you come out off this emotional loss and you're going to I get that. Mississippi State's not good. They haven't been good all year. They've kind of fought and been in some games, and they've kind of given some teams a little bit of trouble here and there, but they're largely not. I mean, could they pull off the upset? Yeah, they could. If Mizzou goes out there and plays flat, if Mizzou plays like they did against Texas A&M or like they did against Alabama, they'll lose to Mississippi State. But I don't think we're going to see that. I think Brady Cook's healthy. I think these guys, they can still finish the regular season 9-3. It's a really good regular season. So I think they're going to go down there and pound Mississippi State. I don't think that 7.5 points is nearly enough. That's just me. Notre Dame and Army. I bet Army, I got on it early. I had them minus 16 or plus 16.5. So I feel somewhat comfortable with that. I mean, Army can run the hell out of the football. They're very physical. They have a really good defense. I don't think anybody would want to play them in a bowl game or just at any point in time this year. The only thing is just, the level of athlete versus Notre Dame's level of athlete is just a pure mismatch. And the level of competition that Army has faced is, Notre Dame's schedule has not been, it's largely hot dog water, a joke. Who have they played? They beat Louisville. That's a decent team, I guess. Florida State's a shithole. Who else have they played? Stanford, terrible. They beat Georgia Tech without Haynes King. Navy, yet another one, and that's the thing too. Looking at the Notre Dame, Navy and Army are always, even though they're bitter rivals, they're always going to get compared to each other. And whenever someone plays both of them, like as in the case with Notre Dame here, you're always going to draw comparisons between the two. And they do a lot of the same things. And Notre Dame had absolutely no issues with Navy. Navy hadn't turned the ball over hardly at all year long before that game, and they turned it over like 7 times or something against Notre Dame. So that's one of the things that just scares me about that matchup. But if Notre Dame's not quite ready and Army can muddy that game up enough, and if they can control the line of scrimmage just that little bit, just that little half second they need to get that pitch right and get on the outside, they could run up some yardage and Notre Dame could be in for a long day. Long day at the office there at Yankee Stadium. Wow, that's crazy. I got to think, though, that's less than an hour from Army's campus. Yankee Stadium is, but I'd got to think that place is still going to be full of Notre Dame fans. Now, those people are all over the country. They're spread out everywhere. It's one of the biggest brands in college football. Might be the biggest brand. I don't know. I think them and Ohio State are all up there together. In terms of nationwide, who else? In Georgia. Georgia's a huge college football brand too. They're a really big brand as well. Georgia and Alabama are probably the two biggest brands, I would think, in the SEC. I can't think of who would be bigger than that. No. It definitely ain't the Gamecocks. Somebody say, is it the Gamecocks? No, it ain't the Gamecocks. No. But those are my thoughts on the games for this weekend. I haven't made a lot of videos this week because I've been working a lot, and quite frankly, there hasn't been a lot to talk about. I haven't had anything that I really wanted to make a video about, obviously. This is kind of the calm before the storm. Next week is going to be a heck of a week with videos, live show next Friday night. By the way, if you're in the Columbia, South Carolina area, we're doing a live show, the Rob and Kel show, next Friday evening. I think we're going to get it kicked off about 7 o'clock or so. But go over to the robandkaleshow.com or the Rob and Kel Show Facebook page, and you can find out all the details there. We're going to have a silent auction raising some money for a charity that Rob's got going on there in Columbia to help children who have been sexually abused, which is a good cause because, I mean, not only does that damage them physically, but the mental damage from that is that's something that nobody wants to go through. Wouldn't want any child to go through in any way that we can help them. Would be a great thing to do. So, we're doing that to raise money for that, and we've got some little goals set. If we raise $1,000, I can't remember. One of them, I think if we raise $5,000, Rob's going to get a Gamecock tattoo. I'm not sure how far along we are right now in the donations there, but that live show will be next Friday night at Callaway's Sports Bar and Grill on Highway 1 in West Columbia. It's diagonally across from the Walmart too, by the way, if you want to if you need to go to Walmart for any particular reason while we're at the show, or before the show, or after the show. Well, Walmart's not open 24 hours anymore, so really before the show. If you need to go to Walmart for any reason, it's there for you. Go ahead and grab into it. Anyway, guys, that's about all I've got to say. Have a great day of college football, and I will talk to y'all later. Appreciate you. Peace, and I'm out. Go Gamecocks.